What cigar was Tony actually smoking in The Sopranos? Fans have debated this for years, but most are probably wrong. If you watch the show closely, you'll see lots of different shapes, sizes, and wrappers, but there's one cigar that seems to show up again and again. The Partagas D4, a no-nonsense cigar with the kind of bold profile you'd expect for Tony. And sometimes you'll even see a red band. So, was the D4 Tony's favorite cigar? Like with most things on The Sopranos, it's not that simple. I'm Alex, and in this series, we're breaking down the cigars behind iconic characters. From the very first scene, cigars set him apart from the average person. We might sit in traffic waiting, but Tony's kicking back, lighting a cigar, taking his time like the world moves on his schedule. So how did Tony like to cut his cigars? Well, there is a scene where we can see Carmela put a fingernail on the bedside table, and you can see that Tony owns a guillotine cutter. But there are times when his hands are busy, like when he's defending his family from a bear in the backyard, where he'll actually just bite the end off the cigar with his teeth. On this show, we don't have the budget to potentially ruin Cubans, so we're gonna do this the safe way. Quick shout out to Cigar Chief for supplying what I'm smoking today. Tony only smoked the best, and I knew that this would hold up. It arrived perfectly stored, perfectly shipped, and actually the first time I talked to them, I could see a Sopranos edition of Cigar Aficionado on their wall, so you know they get it. When Tony lights a cigar, it's not always a slow, perfect ritual. There's that moment where he lights one right before killing Matthew Bevilacqua, and the way he does it tells you everything. It's quick, direct. He's not properly toasting the tobacco. He's probably overheating it, but that's not the point. The point is the moment. Partagas dates back to the 1800s. It uses tobacco from the Vuelta a Bajo region, which is widely considered to have the best soil in the world. But let's be honest, Tony wasn't thinking about the history of the tobacco when he smoked. What he may have been feeling, though, is the mystique that comes with Cuban tobacco. That he probably liked. For Tony, a cigar was a way to create balance, if only for a moment. The flavor, the nicotine, the ritual. Perhaps the best example of a cigar like that is the one he smokes at the end of season 2. Things are falling into place, he's solidifying his power within the mob, but he's just killed one of his best friends. The cigar shows up in moments like that for a reason. It's a way to stay grounded. And cigars like this, rich, earthy, a little bit of spice, they linger. Just enough to give you that moment of balance, no matter what kind of life you're living. So what other kind of cigars did Tony like smoking? There are the Monte Cristos that he gives to his neighbor as a gift, a classic Cuban, illegal in the US. At times it looks like he's smoking the Romeo y Julieta Wide Churchill, and also KO actually made cigars for The Sopranos. There was a limited line and also a special ultra rare edition that has The Sopranos written on the band. It's actually one of my most desired cigars, so get in touch if you have one of those you can send me. And of course, sometimes Tony does smoke cigarettes, but they usually show up when something's off. A tense conversation with his sister Janice, or after a rendezvous that Carmela would probably frown upon. He never smoked like Johnny Sack. Johnny would smoke endlessly, quick, get his fix. For Tony, it was more about slowing things down. Cigarettes show up when he's off balance. Cigars show up when he's trying to get the balance back. When you get deeper into a cigar like this, it starts to develop. The strength builds. The flavors get darker. More cocoa, more spice, a touch of honey to round everything out. It gets heavier, more deliberate. And cigars like this have always carried a certain weight. In the early 20th century, cigars were tied to power in America. Industrialists, bankers, politicians. They were expensive and time-consuming, not something you just smoked on the run. And that image carried over into organized crime. Mobsters like Lucky Luciano and Al Capone were often photographed with a cigar in hand, not just because they liked them, but because of what it conveyed: power, status, wealth. But behind the scenes, on set, things were a little different, because as iconic as these cigars are, a lot of the time, what James Gandolfini was actually smoking wasn't the Partagas, it wasn't a Monte Cristo, it was a common, popular, available Macanudo Cafe. This is a mild cigar. It's really easy to light. It burns well. You can use it take after take. It's perfect for a film or TV set. And there's actually a little clue in the show itself, because in one scene when they're setting up a poker game, Tony asks, "You got the Macanudos?" So these were cigars they had in the story too. And it makes sense. I mean, on a film set, you don't want expensive Cuban cigars that burn differently each time. You want something reliable and mild. So while the image stays Partagas, the reality was Macanudo. And in a way that actually fits the show perfectly. David Chase has said that one of his main goals with The Sopranos was to write dialogue where characters never quite say what they mean. That tension between what is presented and what the reality actually is at the heart of the show, even down to the cigars. If you want more breakdowns like this, please subscribe. Next up, we're gonna be breaking down what Mr. Big was smoking in Sex and the City, and then we're gonna do Gandalf and his pipe tobacco in Lord of the Rings. I'm Alex, and I'll see you in the next one.